Before we go on to the next session, I just wanted to let you know that a very interesting student group is here. They're sitting on my left at the tables there. It's the students, it's called Albany STEP, and it's the students stopping the trafficking and exploitation of people. And so if you have a moment, please stop by and talk with them, because obviously this is very much connected to the topic today. So I would like to call on Ray, who will be Ray Koslowski, who's the head of the Master of International Affairs program, to facilitate the next session, which, in my opinion, is sort of probably one of the more interesting sessions today, looking at the research around violent extremism and trafficking and what is being done and what else can be done. And I'll let Ray introduce the rest of the panel. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Gina, and thank you for organizing, sponsoring this conference, and all the students have put all of their time and effort to making this a reality. It's been just a wonderful experience so far, learning so much about the different policies and the different strategies that the U.S. government has been taking in terms of combating trafficking and violent extremism. Now we get to this other issue that we step back and try to tease out some of the causes for these different phenomena, trying to understand some of the challenges with the statistics in this area that had been mentioned, and whether it really makes sense actually to relate these two in the way that we have been thinking about it. So part of our role as academics, as research, is to ask a lot of these questions, all right? And that's what I hope that you will also have at the end of this session, is questions for all of our speakers. And just to say, the way that we've agreed to go about this is that we'll have 3 presentations, each of about up to 20 minutes. And then after each presentation, we'll take 5 to 10 minutes to address your questions that are specific to that speaker. If you have any more general questions for the topic as a whole, I ask you to save that, and some points that you may have with respect to discussion of some of these issues in general. We'll save that last 30 minutes for that more general discussion. And I'm very, very pleased to have with us today 4 of my colleagues, and it's really something that's very good for me to see, as my colleagues have been working in the field, and my colleagues have been working on these issues and developing the data sets, etc., coming together with policy community, and then all of you students as well. And we're going to start things off with Nilofer Siddiqui, who is a lecturer in the political science department, soon to be joining us in the fall as assistant professor of political science, who teaches in comparative politics and also the Masters of International Affairs program. And she will be speaking about researching trafficking and violent extremism. And then we have the dynamic duo of Victor Assault and Carl Rethemeyer, who I still remember meeting at it was a SUNY-wide conference dealing on Homeland Security and early research that they were doing on terrorism, and it's been wonderful to see that develop. And Victor Assault is my colleague in political science in the comparative politics field, but also now serving as the chair of the Department of Administration. And Carl Rethemeyer is the dean of the Rockefeller College and also a professor of public administration and policy. And they'll be focused on this issue of crime, conflict, and the legitimacy trade-off. Finally, my colleague, Matthew Ingram, who is in the public law subfield in the political science department, but he's also a comparativist. And Matt has been doing some incredibly interesting work on how different legal systems around the world deal with issues of corruption and addressing crime and criminal justice. And he will be presenting on femicide rates and the relation to TIP. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand the floor over to Milliford.